Hi and welcome to a new video. So for this video I built 5 different things and each of those fit in a one chunk area. A chunk is 16 by 16 blocks wide and I marked them out with these red concrete boxes. So I'll first just show a short time lapse of what I've built and then explain what my idea was and how I think it turned out. So let's not wait too long and just get into the first time lapse. So here's the first build. It's kind of a medieval fantasy style. I did a pointy roof, then some rims with a dark oak, and I tried to texture a lot. I used the warped blocks and the dark prismarine for the roof, and then I textured the white concrete from the walls with the diorite, and I also textured the andesite with some stone, and then I added some things around the build, and that's basically the first build done. I'm quite happy with it. I think it looks quite neat, and yeah, not much more to say here. Now we can move on to the second build. I went for fantasy style again, and it's a wizard or witch tower. So I used red nether brick for this roof, and I also used the dark oak for the rims again. And yeah, I added a small side tower. I really like how that looks on wizard or witch towers. So I just added a flag, and then I also did a lot of texturing. I even used basalt at the bottom of the tower, and mainly I just used stone and andesite for almost everywhere else. But then I tried something. I don't know how it turned out. I just think it didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but it is a cool idea, and if you're good at it, it could work. So I tried to use glass to make like a fog effect, as if the tower was really high and was sticking out of the fog. I tried it here, but I don't think it really worked out that great. And yeah, then it just added a small bridge. So this is my second build done. And now we're already at the third build. So this one isn't as big and didn't take me as long as the other ones, but I still think it's okay. It's like a camping site with 2 tents, and I also had like a campfire and some gravel ways, and I also did the interiors of the tents. And because I thought that wasn't enough, I had some more space. I also added like a small pond with a dock and a boat, as you can see here. That's already the third build done, so now we can move on to the fourth build. So I used white concrete for the walls again, then I did some brick roof, and I tried to go for a chapel or small church. Then I added some windows, and again I tried to use diorite for texturing of the walls. And the last thing I added was a small graveyard at the side with 2 graves and a pathway. The last thing, again, I added some more vegetation just to make it more alive, and I also textured the roof with some diorite. Finally, we can get to the last build, and this one took me by far the longest, and it's a small castle. So it is mainly stone and some brick roofs, but I tried to texture it quite a lot. I used cobblestone, dead horn, coral, and andesite, but because I thought the towers and the walls blended in with each other too much, I also used some stone bricks to make it more pop out. And then I also added some buildings inside of the castle, and they were kind of squished, but I still think it's better than no buildings. Now you can see the inside of the castle, and I used quite a similar block palette to my first build. Stripped spruce logs, dark oak for the rim, and the walls are white concrete and diorite again. But for the roofs, I went with the spruce instead of the warped blocks. But I also added some campfires in, so it is a little bit more textured and more interesting. And that was basically the inside. Okay, so now that we're finished with the time lapses, I can show this in first person, and here's the first build. You probably couldn't see the windows so good in the time lapse, but here you can see them again. They're not that interesting. Yeah, it's not much to talk about. Very simple. I like it, and yeah, no interior. I will probably do some more interior work in my future videos, but for now, I'm a little too lazy for doing interior. Okay, so we can already move on to my second build. And there's also not much to talk about. Also, no interior. And as you can see, the fog effect didn't work as I intended it to. But I still like how it looks. And I still think it's quite a decent build. The next one I'm not so proud of, the one with the tent, but it's still okay. So here you can see the interior. I did like bunk beds here, then like a shelf, and in the other one I also did bunk beds and more storage. So now we're already at the fourth build, and not much to say here either. I just like how this turned out. It's quite simple, but I think it looks quite neat, and it has a lot of life with these leaves and all this vegetation. So now we're at the last build, and here I've got a little more to show. No interiors, but if you walk through the door, you can actually look at the houses. You couldn't see that in the time lapse, but yeah, here I textured it with diorite, and I also added some lighting. So this is basically all of it. And as always, the world download is down below in the description, so you can check it out there for yourself. But thanks for sticking around to the end. It really means a lot to me. Also, if you liked the video, it would be great if you could like, and if you would be interested in more of this, it would also be great if you could subscribe. So, not much more to say then. Hope I see you in my next video. Bye.